let's create a report. What do we want to see? A traffic report, a scorecard metric. What do we want to see? Let's do a scorecard because I know that I should be able to do that one. And then we'll bring in traffic sources and see what happens there. Okay. So now the other thing is I could now add this data source to here if I wanted to. Maybe we'll do that as a last step. Let's just see how we're doing here. Let's go back over to this one here that I just changed the name to, GA4 BigQuery demo. And I'm going to create a new one. And I'm going to call it a scorecard. Okay. So I'm just going to pull in users now. So this is users and the metric is event count. Okay. That could be fine. But I think we need to have, I think users should just be a metric, right? So unique users, 46,297. 45K. So I'm going to call that I'm going to put that into the close enough column. So, and then you'll obviously what you can, for those of you who haven't used Data Studio, you can just call it users in the name, and then it'll override the scorecard unique users. Okay. Users. And I'm going to drop another scorecard in there. Oops. It's so hard with all the Zoom sharing stuff on here to see where I'm typing. So they don't have sessions in here, which is interesting, right? So I'd have to look at, this is where I said I was going to fail because I don't know what they call sessions. It could be session, like event name. And then that might have to be session start. So you do a filter. See, this is aggregating event name, and then we want to filter on, and that's count distinct of event names. That's not what we need. We need the count, and then we want to change this to event name is equal to session. Is that what you call it? And they don't even have sessions in the aggregate. That's also a sign. If they don't have it in their reports, then that might be in the wrong level that I'm doing that, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to go back to events, just make sure I got the right session _ start. And so we should have 67,910. Fred said there's one called total sessions as well. So 67,910. So I got it, right? More than one way to do it. I'm going to duplicate this and then try Fred's one as well. Oops. Okay, so you said total. Yeah, I'm not seeing that in here, Fred, as a metric. So it could be that it could be that total sessions is a dimension, and then it would be record count. Does anybody know how I can? Is there a dimensionality in a scorecard, or does it only have metric? I think it's only metrics, right? So you'd have to do a filter on that. So because there's no dimension, you're probably right, Fred, that it might be a dimension. I could probably find it in here actually. No, I don't know if I see it in there or not. So anyways, we got it, right? This is exactly what we wanted. We'd rename this thing to be sessions. Okay. So now we're halfway there. And actually, just because I'm a crazy person, we're just going to fix this report now. We're just going for it, folks. Then you can have this template. And then if you ever have BigQuery, you'll just have it instead of working on me. So I'm using the sample merchandise store. Unfortunately, they nerfed that. I can't use that anymore. And so we're going to have to go ahead and add our own. So we're going to go in and we're going to let's see. So I'm going to add a data source. Where am I going? There's also more than one way to do this too. So this only gives us the new format. I shouldn't have to add that again, though. I should just go find it in my data sources. That's the right way to do this, folks, is to go and find your own version. So you're not reinventing the wheel. Nope, I did that wrong. Okay, so let me see. I don't want that. So that, now that I think about it, folks, I'm going to do one thing here, and I'm going to make a copy of this because I don't want to ruin the template that other people can access and they won't understand that I did this here. So I'm going to do this and then I'll give you guys this one. Okay. So this will be a special one only for brain gains people. Okay. So you should be, I mean, my general preferred way to do this is to add your own data source, but they're not this one right here. Okay. Nope, that was just, that's that one. So that's not what I want to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect to BigQuery again. It's actually surprisingly easy once you have it set up. Okay. Okay, that's in here. We'll go to pull stuff in there. So then the users, we just did that one easy peasy, right? So we're going to go in here and instead of being active users, we're going to find. Okay, so this is still using the old API, as you can see. We're going to swap out this for the events one. Unique users. Okay. This one's governed by the time range. So that was actually a worry that I had going into this, was like all these tables are by the day, you know, but it looks like it doesn't really affect our stuff that we're doing here. So if I change this date range to be the last 30 days, it should give us the same number. This I think that it's at last 28 days. Now, I am conscious that the unique user doesn't match it perfectly, although 46273 does. That's pretty close. So I'm not sure if there's some kind of filtering going on there or what. This is the session. So what we did with this one is we just said event count. And then we said event name. It's weird. Notice how this is like a lot more. This is a lot more clean. It's not as many underscores and stuff as what I just had. I think it's because I started the other one, I converted to this format. The other one, I'm just keeping it to this one. So so that's the session start. That gives us the exact number we know about. Let's try traffic sources here. So this is usually looking at the default channel grouping, sessions, users. Okay, so keep that in mind. So we're going to try going in here and channel. So that's not, they don't have channel grouping. So acquired campaign, medium, source. So this is where the digging needs to happen on my end. So it's like, I don't like, so they call it channel. They don't have channel on there. So then you start looking for source, acquired source, app install source. That seems way too specific. So let's just try it anyway, though. Decide acquired source. So direct That doesn't really make sense, does it? So this is where I need to like, so what I would do here, folks, and I don't think we're going to have an answer on this call. This is where I'd start to look in and I'd look at my BigQuery, and then I'd start to use the preview mode or even just trying to find out what the source is. So event. So you look in here at the data and you say, okay, well, so these are the other parameters that are in there. Here's the values. But where is they're logged in, desktop, Google Chrome. Is there anything that even mentions source, medium? Traffic source name, that's the campaign name. So traffic source medium is CPC, Facebook. Do they even mention channels in here? So this is again, this is where it gets a little bit crazy, right? Like we have to know these things. So I don't see anything in here that is a channel. So I would go back to I would use source and medium to do that. Traffic.source medium, although that doesn't really seem to do what we needed to do. So let's see, traffic. Does anybody have any thoughts on this? Refer, yeah, that's one we can check out. So no refer. This is weird though. So let's just look at the data source and see if there's something that I didn't bring in there or that there's something that's wrong with it. Because you see there's a different schema. So we have events. It's a template level Firebase event or events. It's funny. We were just in there, right? This lets me go into my BigQuery and see that. But I'm not. All right. So I'm not seeing where that's coming from, which is obviously a pretty big problem with this, right? If you can't get traffic sources, then reporting is sort of pointless. It's a folded dimension, so it's not available as a field. Okay. I'm not even sure how to go about that one. So we'll have to figure that. So that I don't know the answer to that one. Let's see if we can do content. It's probably going to be the same thing, but I think that if we like page title should be what it's called. We saw that in here, but so what I'm thinking is happening here is the way that I pulled this data source in. If I go to the one that we had created before, which is over here, and I just wanted to do, if I wanted this thing to be traffic. So this has traffic source medium and everything in there, right? So that's what I'm saying is it's really weird. Like they don't have channel, but they have source. So traffic source, and then we can do traffic source medium or traffic medium. And then we can turn this into a chart instead. So, or into a table of data. And then we want users and sessions. So again, this is where I need to get my own personal understanding of what's the difference between how I connected it through BigQuery, which had way more than the native BigQuery one was sort of nerfed again. So we'll go back to the drawing board on that one and try to figure it out some more. Or again, I couldn't even import that table into here. So that's a challenge. Okay, here's the follow-up. And this just shows you how we recreated the GA4 to universal comparison dashboard and made it work with BigQuery data. So it actually wasn't as hard as you might think. let me just show you how to do it. So the first thing you notice is these all use the same data source for the BigQuery side, which is the left-hand side. This is the GA4 BigQuery demo area that we imported, and that's coming from this query right here. And actually, I thought at first I would need to re-import or to get more fields, but I was able to do it with all the fields. Total users is pretty straightforward, and that is just pulling from here, the BigQuery demo, and then within this total users, we are pulling in just the total unique users and then renamed it to users. This one, we needed some filtering. So we have event count for BigQuery demo. This is when the event name is equal to sessions. And actually it's not exactly equals to sessions. We are a little bit more explicit there. So it has to be session start. So this is sessions that started during that time. And this matches exactly to what we want in Universal Analytics. So not that it's showing on the screen right now, but it does show up to the session start that we had here, which corresponds with sessions. So that's a match. Now the next one, it gets to be a little bit more difficult. We had some troubles finding traffic sources. I don't know what I just did there, but it's actually pretty straightforward to get this working, and we can verify it in GA as well. What I was able to find was if you go to source medium, I just used basically the source report here. You can see Google 37348. Let's just see if that compares. And 37864. So pretty close. Okay, and that's users versus sessions, 54,000. Now, how did I create this one? This one's all about filtering. So we're using our BigQuery data, of course. We're looking at acquired source. And then we have users, which is a modification of unique users, and then sessions, which is the event count of sessions. And the way that we get this thing working is we have just one filter in place, and that is the session filter we just looked at in the last one. So it's saying session start. So any session that has a source attached to it, we're looking at the acquired source from that area. So that's what we're looking at here. Actually, let's get rid of that. Was what happened. I had to drill down. So this looks pretty good. And then 37684. Let's just see, that's 37348. So that's within a tolerable, within a certain amount of tolerance that I'm not going to dwell on it and worry about it too much, but that looks like it's working. There must just be some kind of filtering maybe that happens with non-sources or not set or something. So if we set this thing to, if we had another filter for not set perhaps, that could make it work even stronger. And I haven't really dug into that, but if we looked over here, maybe we can see some stuff like not set or not working, and we would filter that even further. Or there's some stuff that Google doesn't even want in here. So that's how we would customize that more, but I think for now, that's all we need to do. And the final thing is popular content. And so this one's got the most filters. We have a dimension called page title, which is actually really just the event parameter value in string form. So I renamed the page title to match the right-hand side. We have users, which is the same thing, views, which is event count. And then it's all about filtering here. So we're going to sort by users, and then it's all about the filters. So we have what I'm calling it event name contains page view. So this is a page view event. That is from that is the event of page view. So that's where we want to start with. So event parameter name contains page title, snake case. And with that, it was able to filter down. And you can see this looks pretty similar, almost exactly the same as what we had on there. So I feel pretty good about it. And make sure this thing's sorted, but it's basically almost within just a few views for each one. So I think we're doing pretty well there. So we have this comparison dashboard up to date. Really, all you need to do is set up the link to BigQuery and start pushing your data in there, and you will have the equivalent of this data, and it should just work for you. So I always use Google Analytics as your backup source, but here's how we got this report to work. And the cool thing is if you can set up every client and it's all based on queries and templates, you can update 50 reports way better and faster than you could do it with the API. It'll be super fast. And you can merge data together from different sources. So you could pull in click data from an email platform. You can pull in data from ads. You can pull in all that stuff in one spot. So cool. Awesome. Well, I thought this was fun. I enjoyed it. maybe not the best ending that I was expecting. I was expecting to like have it perfect, but whatever. We don't let perfect get in the way of good enough, I guess.